There is a place on Earth where the ground is on fire, has been burning for over 50 years, and you can walk right up to the edge of it, and almost nobody talks about it. I don't mean a volcano. I don't mean some controlled gas flare at a refinery. I mean a hole in the middle of a desert, 226 feet wide and nearly 100 feet deep, filled wall to wall with open flame, glowing orange in the dark like something out of a fantasy novel, except it is completely, verifiably, 100% real. This is part 3 of real places that sound absolutely fake, and this one might be the most unbelievable yet. The place is called the Darvaza Gas Crater. It sits in the Karakum Desert in the country of Turkmenistan, in Central Asia. And before we go any further, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, some hole with a fire in it, how crazy can it really be? So let me just describe what standing at the edge of this thing looks like. Picture a pit roughly the size of a football field across. Now fill it completely with hundreds of individual fire vents, natural gas seeping up through the ground, catching flame, some of those vents shooting fire several feet into the air. The whole crater glows. At night, it can be seen from miles away. It looks like someone cracked open the surface of the planet, and it has looked like this since 1971. That's not a typo. 1971. Here's where the story gets genuinely hard to believe. The crater is not natural, at least not entirely. This sounds made up, but it isn't. Back in 1971, Soviet geologists were drilling in the Karakum Desert, prospecting for natural gas. They found it. Except they found a lot more than they were expecting. The ground beneath the drill site collapsed, opening up a large cavern full of natural methane gas. The drilling equipment fell in. The cavern kept venting gas into the air, which is dangerous because methane is both flammable and toxic. So the Soviet engineers made a decision that, in hindsight, was either brilliant or catastrophic, depending on how you look at it. They set it on fire. Their reasoning, according to accounts reported by National Geographic and BBC Travel drawing on Soviet geological records, was that the gas would simply burn off in a matter of weeks. They would wait, the fire would go out, and everyone could move on. That was over 50 years ago. The fire has not gone out. Now here are the numbers, because this is where it stops feeling like folklore and starts feeling like a geology textbook in the best possible way. According to documentation from George Karunis's 2013 National Geographic expedition, the crater is approximately 69 meters wide, that's 226 feet, and about 30 meters deep, which is nearly 100 feet. The Karakum Desert itself, for context, covers roughly 70% of Turkmenistan's entire land area, according to Encyclopedia Britannica. 70%. The country is mostly this desert, and sitting in the middle of it is a pit that has been continuously combusting methane from a massive underground reservoir, documented by the USGS as part of Central Asia's significant natural gas geology for more than half a century. You'd assume this had to be exaggerated. Look it up. In 2013, a Canadian explorer named George Karunis did something that sounds like the plot of a bad action movie. He descended into the crater. On a rope. To the floor. He was funded by a grant from the National Geographic Society. This is documented in their official expedition records. And he wore a heat-resistant suit and a respirator. When he got to the bottom, he collected soil samples. Those samples were later analyzed, and here's the part I had to fact-check twice. Scientists found living microorganisms in the samples, bacteria, alive, on the floor of a flaming methane kit. National Geographic reported on the microbial findings, noting that life was surviving in conditions of extreme heat and methane saturation that should, by most reasonable assumptions, be completely hostile to biological existence. Life, apparently, did not get the memo. And now, because this story keeps adding layers, here's the political twist. In January 2022, Turkmenistan's president at the time, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedow, announced in a televised address, reported by both Reuters and BBC News, that the government intended to extinguish the Darvaza crater. His stated reasons included environmental concerns and the health of people living in the surrounding region. The announcement made international headlines. As of the time of this video, the crater is still burning. Whether that's because extinguishing a 50-year-old methane fire in the middle of a desert is genuinely that difficult, or for other reasons, is a question that remains open. But the crater burns on. Here is the part that might actually be the most surprising of all. You can go there, right now. Tourists visit the Darvaza crater. There is no fence around most of it. You can camp nearby. People have stood at the rim and taken photographs and videos that you can find all over the internet. And the crater looks exactly as insane in real life as it does on screen. The nearest town is Darvaza, which gives the crater its name. The Karakum desert around it, where surface temperatures can exceed 70 degrees Celsius, 158 Fahrenheit, according to World Meteorological Organization regional climate data, is itself a serious environment to navigate. But organized tours to the site exist. It is a real destination, a pit that has been on fire since Nixon was in his first term, in the middle of one of the most remote deserts on Earth, with bacteria living at the bottom of it, that a sitting head of state tried and apparently failed to turn off. If this one broke your brain even a little bit, that is a real place you can visit. That means we're doing our job. There are 2 more parts in this series you might not have seen yet, and we've got more coming. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you actually see them when they drop.